Okay, we are going to do 10.1. You guys have gotten through a third of your class. It's really good. First exam done. Now we're going on. This is when it starts to get, this is the section, chapter 10 and chapter 11 that are really, they're pretty intense, okay? There are lots of stuff that you probably haven't done in a while or don't remember. So this is where you're going to have to make sure you put a lot of time and effort into, extra time and effort if you need it, okay? Now, 10.1 is a review of functions. We've all seen f of x. If f of x were to equal, let's say, x plus 1, and g of x were to equal 3x plus 5, and then they'd ask you, this is a review, they'd ask you, okay, what's f of 1? Which means wherever there's an x in the f function, we would put a 1. So that would be 1 squared plus 1, which would be 2. So f of 1 equals 2. They could say, what's g of negative 3? Meaning, wherever there's an x in the g function, you put a negative 3. So you get negative 9 plus 5, which is negative 4. So g of negative 3 is negative 4. Okay, reviewing. Also, let me remind you, f of x or g of x or any of x's can be replaced with y. So this is saying that's y, and you are saying this is x. So if you think about it, you're really doing this. When x is 1, what's y? You're really doing when x is negative 3, what's y? Okay? Now, we're going to take it a step farther, and we're going to look at this. What if I said f plus g of x, or f minus g of x, or f times g of x, or f divided by g of x? This means take f of x and take g of x and add them together. This means take f of x and take g of x and subtract. This means take f of x and multiply it by g of x. And this means take f of x and divide it by g of x, as long as g of x does not equal 0, because remember, you can't have 0 in the denominator. Okay? So, with that in mind, let's go back to what was f of x was x squared plus 1, and g of x was 3x plus 5. What would f plus g of 1 be? Well, then that's basically saying f of 1 plus g of 1. Okay, well, f of 1 is wherever there's an x, you put a 1, so you get 1 plus 1, which is 2. So this is 2 plus g of 1 is wherever there's an x, you put a 1, so you get 3 plus 5, which is 8. 8. So my answer is you add them together and you get 10. So you're really just finding f of 1 and g of 1, and then, because it's addition, adding them together. All right, well, what if I asked you, using those same functions, what if I said I wanted f minus g of negative 3? That means f of negative 3 minus g of negative 3. So first I find f of negative 3, which means wherever there's an x, I put negative 3. So I get 9 plus 1, which is 10. So that's 10. Minus, I'll come over here, g of negative 3 means wherever there's an x, we put -3, which we've already done. -9 plus 5 is -4. So this one is -4. So I have 10 minus -4, which is 10 plus 4, which is 14. Okay? All right. What about if we want to multiply? Let's try it out. Same functions. F of x is x squared plus 1. G of x is 3x plus 5. All right, what if I said I wanted f times g of 5? That means f of 5 times g of 5. So I find out what's f of 5 first. So that's wherever there's an x, I put a 5. So I get 25 plus 1, which is 26. So this is 26 times, now g of 5, wherever there's an x, I put a 5. So I get 15 plus 5, which is 20. That's 20. So 26 times 20, 520. Okay? And then the last one they showed us was, what if it was f of g of 0? That means f of 0 divided by g of 0. Well, first I need to find what f of 0 is using those same functions. Where there's a 0, I put, or there's an x, I put a 0. So I get 0 plus 1, which is 1. That's 1 over g of 0. Wherever there's an x, I put a 0. So I get 0 plus 5, which is 5. G of 0. And my answer is 1/5. Okay? What I want you to notice is I asked you something in terms of a number, your answer was a number. I asked you in terms of a number, your answer was a number. Same with addition and subtraction. I asked you in terms of a number, your answer was a number. So what if these were the functions I gave you? We're going to start over. What if I gave you f of x is 8x minus 9, and g of x is the square root of 2x minus 1? But I'm asking you to give me f plus g of x, which means f of x plus g of x. What is f of x? 8x minus 9. What is g of x? The square root of 2x plus minus 1. Can any of these be added together? Nope. So there's my answer. What if I asked you for f minus g of x? That means f of x minus g of x. So f of x is 8x minus 9, and g of x is the square root of 2x minus 1. Can any of these be subtracted? Nope. So there's your answer. Oh my, what happened here? Notice I'm asking you in terms of x, and your answer is in terms of x. Okay? So what if I had f times g of x? Well, that's f of x times g of x. So that's 8x minus 9, that whole thing, times the square root of 2x minus 1. Can't multiply anything, so we'll just leave it. What is wrong with it? Okay. And then the last one, I need to have a bigger whiteboard, sorry. The last one is, what if I wanted to divide them? That's f of x divided by g of x, which means 8x minus 9 over the square root of 2x minus 1. Now, this is where we actually have to do something. Remember, you can't leave a square root in the denominator, so you multiply it by itself. And whenever you do the bottom, you do the top. Okay? So I get 8x minus 9 times the square root of 2x minus 1. But it's that whole thing. All over. What is the square root of 2x minus 1 times the square root of 2x minus 1? 2x minus 1. Now, you could distribute or you could just leave it. That's as far as you go in terms of x. The question asked in terms of x, your answer was in terms of x. Okay? All right. Then there's something called composite functions. And they look a little different. They look like this. They give you f of x and g of x. And in this case, we're going to have 2x minus 1 and 4x plus 2. Okay? But they want us to find f of g of x. This is an open circle, and it means you read it within terms of f of g of x. But what I've shown you before, I think it was in 095, is we put a parenthesis through that circle, and we put parenthesis on the outside, meaning you're looking for f of g of x. That's how you rewrite it, okay? Now, if it were the other way, if it were g of f of x, you would do the same thing. You would put a parenthesis around, and it really means g of f of x, okay? Now, with that said, what if I asked you to find f of g of 2, given these functions? F of g of 2. Now, they're asking you in terms of a number, so your answer will be in terms of a number, okay? I am looking for, remember, put parentheses around it. I'm really looking for f of g of 2. Now, when you have parentheses, what do? You work from the outside in, right? Sorry, from the inside out. When you have parentheses, you work from the inside out. So I need to find g of 2. That's the first thing I need to do. So wherever, where did I say g of 2 was? 4x plus 2, okay? Wherever there's an x, I'm going to put a 2. So I get 8 plus 2, which is 10. So instead of g of 2, I can write 10. Oh, so now I'm looking for f of 10, which means wherever there is an x in the f function, you put a 10. So you get 20 minus 1, which is 19. So f of 10 is 19. So f of g of 2, the answer is 19. What did she just do? All right, let's try it again. Look at another one. Same functions, which were, what did I say they were? 2x minus 1 and 4x plus 2. Okay. F of x is 2x minus 1. G of x is 4x plus 2. What if I wanted you to find g of f of negative 3? All right, let's put this here. So really, you're looking for g of f of negative 3, okay? And we're going to work from the inside out. So the first thing we have to find is f of negative 3, which means wherever there is an x, you put a negative 3. So you get negative 6 minus 1, which is negative 7. So really, I can replace that, all of this, with negative 7. So I'm really looking for g of negative 7. All right, g of negative 7 is going to be wherever there's a g function, you put the negative 7. So you get negative 28 plus 2, which equals negative 26. So your final answer is negative 26. All of that equals that. Okay. All right. Well, that was in terms of a number. They asked you, and you gave it. They asked you in terms of a number, and you gave it in terms of a number. What if these were the functions, and I asked you for f of g of x? I'm asking you in terms of x. So my answer will be in terms of x. But let's first put parentheses around it and say I'm really looking for f of g of x. All right, g of x. Do we know what that is? Oh, we sure do. So it's really f of 2x squared plus 5x. So that's what g of x is. Okay, now, whenever we have f of something, it means wherever there's an x in the f function, you replace it with what's in the parentheses. So in this case, you replace it with 2x squared plus 5x. So we distribute and we get 8x squared plus 20x plus 1. Nothing else can be added together. And there you have it. Okay, what if I asked for g of f of x? Okay, what does that mean? Put parentheses around it. It means g of f of x. Okay, do we know what f of x is? We sure do. It's 4x plus 1. So really, I'm looking for g of 4x plus 1, which means wherever there is an x in the g function, we're going to put 4x plus 1. Now, we can't leave it like this. Let me rewrite it here. I'm just going to rewrite it so I have more room. All right. We can distribute and get 8x plus 2, but that's still squared, plus 20x plus 5. This needs to be 8x plus 2 times 8x plus 2 plus 20x plus 5. Okay? So 8x times 8x is 64x squared. 8x times 2 is 16x. 2 times 8 is another 16x. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 20x plus 5. Combine like terms, you get 64x squared. 16 and 16 is 32 plus 20 is 52. 52x plus 9. And there's your answer. They asked us in terms of x, and we gave the answer in terms of x. Okay? So those are the two things you're going to play around with in 10.1, is composite functions, that's what these are called, and then the regular functions, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Okay? All right, and that is 10.1. I'm going to stop this because 10.2 is a big one. I'm going to do 10.2 separate. Okay, so see you later.